Good afternoon and welcome. This is the Committee on Housing of the Hawaii State Senate. I'd like to welcome our Vice Chair, Senator Kanuha, and Committee Member Senator Awa. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business at 1 p.m. on Thursday, the 18th, in this room 225, and a public notice will be posted on the legislature's website. We will have a 1 minute per time limit, 1 minute per testifier time limit. And this meeting includes the 2 p.m. agenda of the Committee on Housing, considering 3 House concurrent resolutions. Okay, our first measure today is HCR 12 HD1, requesting HHFDC to study the viability of increasing the minimum percentage of affordable housing units in a project required to be set aside to qualify for an exemption under Chapter 201 Hawaii Revised Statutes. Our first testifier is HHFDC with comments. Okay, I guess they're not here. We'll move next to 2 individuals, Kenneth Felling in support and Tim Streitz in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on HCR 12 HD1?
Aloha, Chair and Vice Chair and the committee. Angela Melody Young, testifying to provide comments. So HHFDC is requested to study the viability of increasing the minimum percentage of units in a project that a developer must set aside for low and moderate income households to qualify for an exemption. So there are mechanisms and parameters in statute to guide housing projects to create equity, but we just wanted to comment if the results are truly equitable. So for example, this mechanism here, perhaps in theory it creates equity, but we're just wondering when it plays out, are we ending up with more luxury housing than affordable housing? For example, the development in Ala Moana and Ward, comparatively, there are far more luxury apartments than there are affordable apartments. And out of the development in the last decade that has changed the community, there are maybe just a few that are affordable. So we're wondering about the mechanism in the law, if it's within HHFDC's practice or the DPP permitting process that allows for luxury developers to develop more or develop faster than affordable projects, or is it just because they're richer that they can develop more? This contributes to the disparity and disproportionate results of more luxury housing than there are affordable housing. And we also wonder how to address that inequity. For example, is there an inventory, like a consolidation of all the developments, an integrated housing inventory of all the housing projects from city and state and private developers for senior housing, homeless housing, transitional housing, affordable housing, and luxury housing, so that there can be like an assessment to what's causing the disparity. So thank you
very much. Anyone else wishing to testify on HCR 12 HD1? Okay, if not, we'll move to our next measure, HCR 178 HD1, requesting a feasibility study on redeveloping land situated at TMK 12-8-15001 into workforce housing and other affiliated uses. Our first testifier is HHFDC in support, followed by University of Hawaii in support.
Chair Calvert, with the University of Hawaii. This property in question is owned by the university, but we are supportive of the resolution.
Thank you. They're in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on HCR 178 HD1? Okay, and I'd like to remind you the 1 minute per testifier rule.
So the purpose of this resolution is to assess the redeveloping of lands at where UH Lab School is next to UH Manoa, and it's to provide workforce housing. So in many cities across the country, it is increasingly difficult for middle income workers to buy or rent housing in the areas in which they work. This is in part due to wages not keeping up with the increasing costs of living, but it is also due to the limited supply of housing affordability to these workers. In response to limited affordable housing options in the areas where they work, many middle income workers move to the outer fringes of a region, leading to longer commute times for the worker, higher levels of traffic, and other negative impact for the surrounding area. Workforce housing has evolved, starting with the Housing Act of 1949 and up to the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. Affordable housing was largely driven by supply-side measures from the government. And in this approach, local government built, maintained, rehabilitated, and owned public housing for low-income individuals. However,
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
okay,
Thank you.
thank
Is there
you.
anyone else wishing to testify on HCR 178 HD1? I see none. I'd also like to welcome committee members, Senators Rhodes and Aquino. And our final measure today is HCR 179, reaffirming the commitment to increase the state's affordable housing stock by not allocating special purpose revenue bonds and discouraging the use of special purpose revenue bonds. First testifier is HHFDC in support, followed by Affordable Housing Connections in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on HCR 179? If not, thank you very much. That brings us to the end of the hearing. Members, do we want to recess or should we go straight into decision making? Okay. All right, we'll move straight into decision making in that case. And members, you have been circulated some inclinations and notes from the chair. We'll start with HCR 12. There were some contradictory points that were raised in the testimony. Ultimately, HHFDC pointed out that they simply don't have the staffing to conduct such a study. So the chair's inclination is to defer this measure. Any questions or discussion? Okay, so if not, we'll be deferring HCR 12 HD1. Next to HCR 178 HD1, and the chair's recommendation for this one will be to pass this measure unamended. So again, for HCR 178 HD1, chair's recommendation is to pass unamended. Chair votes aye.
Our recommendation is to pass HCR 178 unamended. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Aquino.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes.
Aye.
Senator Alwa.
Aye.
5 ayes. Recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And our final measure today is HCR 179. Again, we will be, the chair's recommendation will be to pass this measure unamended. Any questions or discussion? If not, chair votes aye for HCR 179.
Recommendation HCR 179 is from the chair is to pass unamended. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Aquino.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes.
Aye.
Senator Alwa.
Aye.
5 ayes. Recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And that brings us to the end of this agenda. There being no further business, this hearing is adjourned.